On today's Too Close to Call, honestly, I don't even remember what exactly we talk about. I do know we touch on the Eagles. I go into a little bit of a rant about how I think their defense isn't where it needs to be yet. We discuss the Flyers and Senators fight from 15 years ago that took place this week. We touch on how the Sixers are frustrating the hell out of us, and Bryce Harper mania, as well as Jake Arrieta and how he's going to dominate this year. After this, we touch on March Madness. Pags and I pick some of these early conference tournament champions to see how many of the field of 64, or what is it now, 68, that we can get right. As always, guys, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you bearing with us through some sound changes this week with me traveling. We got to do what we got to do. So, as always, though, this episode is brought to you by our presenting sponsor. You know what that means? That means they're giving us the most money out of all our sponsors. Maybe that's because they're our only sponsor, but The Ram King. Visit www.theramking.com for all your t-shirt needs. Guys, a little bit off the script here, but shout out to the Ram King. King and Queen recently had another baby, a baby girl, Leah. She is happy and healthy. Mom and daughter are both doing well. And the King is obviously going to be a little bit more busy. So if you guys need t-shirts out there, support your small business. Don't go to these big boys. Hit up the King. Visit www.theramking.com for your t-shirt needs. But as always, we appreciate you guys listening. You're the best.
Coach, you were 5-79 last year. Why the playoff talk?
Well, we made a couple of key trades, and we got the funk.
Oh, well, glory be, the funk's on me, Bobby.
Keep that funk alive. Keep that funk alive.
Well, it's 1975, and we'll just be keeping the funk alive. So what the...
Aloha and hello. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, March 8th, and this is the 21st episode of the Too Close to Call podcast. I'm your co-host, Miho, as always, here with my boy, Pags. I made it back today from Florida, Pags, so we're back on the correct microphone and hopefully sounding pretty good to you guys.
Dude, that other microphone was brutal.
It's all right, man. We're learning. So thank you guys for bearing with us. I listened to it, and even I was like, God, this fucking sucks. So nothing we could do about it. You're in Florida on a business trip. You make with what you got, and we're just going to keep on grinding.
Absolutely, man. How was it? How's it feel to be back in the old Northeast?
Oh, man. Well, if you can't hear from my voice, which is clearly hoarse, it's because 5 straight days of doing absolutely nothing but talking to vendors on a trade show floor, followed by evenings out, one night at Universal, another night at NBC Sports Grill, where it is all you can eat and all you can drink the entire time. And
love that.
Dude, the last night before everybody leaves, because you're running into people who you see once a year, like training friends. Obviously, you're going to have a drink with every single one of them. We end up at Patty O'Brien's piano bar, Irish piano bar, for like the third night in a row. And boy, oh boy, this one dude was slicing it up.
Is that like Howl at the Moon?
Yeah, exactly. So it's 2 of them that go back and forth. It's great, dude. And listen to this. It's the second night we're down there, and I'm out with my boss, and we go into Patty O'Brien's because the 3 women on our team wanted to go have a nightcap, go over there, listen to some music. We walk in, sit down at a table. The waiter comes over, looks at me, and points and goes, "Nice to see you again, my man." I get up, and I'm like, "Bobby, not in front of my boss, man. Come on." The guy like, "Come on." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I've never seen him before in my life."
That is great. That is great.
Right, so we go back last night. I see Bobby working, go give him a high five. I'm like, "Hey, man, over here, green tea shots. You know the drill. Let's roll."
Did you tip the guys to sing anything?
Oh, yeah. So I put in a couple of different songs. If I can remember here, it was Twist and Shout by the Beatles and Ignition Remix by R. Kelly, because it was my ringtone basically all throughout high school.
A little upset you didn't do Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
It was played, but not requested by myself.
That's a banger. That is a banger.
Oh, dude, and Meatloaf, the one dude last night was rocking Bad Outta Hell. Oh, he fucking crushed it.
That is awesome. Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, man, but a long day coming back. Throat's a little bit sore, so bear with me here. You know what, Pags? As I'm coming back here, I know we usually hit into our number 21s, but we'll get to that, okay? First off, as I'm cruising back, I'm trying to catch up on my Philadelphia sports because, as I mentioned, time was at a premium this week, so I've been a little bit out of it. And I come to see all this nonsense about Michael Bennett, and we were going to bring him back at 7, no problem, but apparently he came out and basically said he wants a raise and he's not going to pay for 7. Well, what the fuck, man? We don't have more money to just give to him. So we're about to get extremely thin on the defensive line here if we're just cutting Michael Bennett. So I'm going to do my best Stephen A. Smith impression here and go, the Eagles' defense sucks.
Dude, this is your classic Miho doom and gloom in March before the whole entire roster takes picture. You're freaking out about a little bit here and there. They could still bring Bennett back. You don't know that. They could still bring Jernigan back. You don't know that.
Bennett's gone. We're not giving him more money. I do know that. That's a fact. Gone.
Yeah, but what happens when the market dries out? He's not signed by anyone, and we're like, all right, we'll give you a little bit more.
Not a realistic scenario. Out.
Fine.
So they bring back Graham, which is obviously necessary at this point because they probably knew this shit with Bennett before what's going on. Because if you're being shopped in trades, like that shit doesn't come out the day of type of thing.
Right.
So they'll know this. Jernigan, I totally understand you're not going to pay him $13 million because of his back. However, their defense and their defensive line played its best in December when fucking Jernigan came back from his back injury.
Yeah, and Bennett was a huge part of that. He was a beast out there. So right now we're looking at solidified on our D-line. We got Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham.
And Barnett's coming off a major surgery, so who knows what you're going to get out of that guy, who's technically in his third year, really only played 50% snaps as a rookie. So, again, you're optimistic Philly point of view here. I'm like, Barnett may not be a stud. We may need to do better than that. And I guess right now also they have Chris Long in the rotation on the outside, but there's questions about whether or not he's coming back.
Right. And this just solidifies my stance this year is no matter what pick you get, no matter where you're at in the draft, you are taking a defensive line. This defensive line draft is deep. I see Dexter Lawrence going 28th in the draft. If you take him, that makes your D-line look a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot younger.
Dude, I literally saw a guy tweet out that if the NFL could only take defensive players in the draft for the first round, the New England Patriots at 32 would still be extremely pleased with the player they got.
That's what I'm saying. This defensive line draft is deep as hell.
It fucking better be, because I'm looking at Trayvon Hester. Yeah, he blocked a field goal with the fucking centimeter of his pinky, but if he's playing defensive tackle for you, that football team's 8-8 at best.
It's giving them some wins where I don't know where they're coming from.
Bruce Hector? Who the hell's Bruce Hector? I'm looking at the depth chart here, Pags. Like what? Joe Ostman? Oh, baby, here we go.
I don't know who any of these guys are.
Then we go into the linebackers where Jordan Hicks is a free agent. I think somebody's going to overpay for him, and he's not going to come back at market value, which leaves Nigel Bradham, who was so-so to good last year, but not like a stud by any means. But apparently across from him, you're running out Paul Warlow, who you re-signed for a year. Oh, shit, here comes Nathan Gary to make some plays. No, he's not.
Hey, Paul Warlow led the league in tackles 2 years ago for the Falcons. He played at Delaware. I played against him. Guy's a beast. He just tore his ACL right off the bat last year. I played against him. The kid's a beast, but I'm not counting on him off of an injury to be our stud middle linebacker for the Eagles. I think you got to pay Hicks at this point. He's been productive. It's just whether he can stay healthy or not.
He's been hurt, I thought is what you were going to say, because that's the word you should have used.
He's been very injured prone.
He's the Brian Elliott of middle linebackers.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
but yeah, dude, you get into the fucking secondary. Jalen Mills coming off an injury. Plus, I think he's an okay cornerback at best. And if they continue to call illegal contacts, he's going to have the most flags in the league again. Sidney Jones, yeah, second-round pick. Should have been a first-round pick. Well, buddy, you're going on year 3 here, and you've played like 10 out of a total of like 32 games. So you're giving me absolutely nothing. Avonte Maddox, the Pitt kid, flew all over the place in the secondary. Solid. Again, solid. Corey Graham, he's gone. Malcolm Jenkins is a stud. You get Rodney McLeod off an injury here, but no depth behind them. Like, dude, we are average at best across every position base right now on the defense.
But the season hasn't started yet. We have plenty of time. Howie's going to make some moves. And like we said earlier, the money's there, unlike recent years where we're like, how the hell are we going to pay these guys?
If we're talking about getting Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell or doing this and that, and I'm like, it's not going to fucking matter if we can't stop anybody.
So going into this year, do you, draft-wise, are you leaning heavily defense and then a running back?
Got to be here, and I don't know who the hell's on the market for the NFL. I'm trying to look up some top defensive free agents, and here's a name for you. I read an article recently that said, is this finally the season Ndamukong Suh plays for the Eagles?
Interesting.
What do you think? He's a free agent.
I'd take him. You guy's a beast.
How much are you going to pay him?
I don't know. You're the cap guy.
Well, you're talking about all this money they have. I mean, how many guys can you sign? You gotta give me the money here. Like, are we talking 5 average people or like 2 good ones? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I would
need, man.
No, I know that. But you also have a lot of veteran leadership on this defense. It's not like this defense is a bunch of young guys that you don't know what you're going to get. You got Nigel Bradham, who's the leader. You got Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Malcolm Jenkins, Rodney McLeod, all guys that have done it and went on to win a Super Bowl. You've put in the right pieces there. You talk to Schwartz, and you're like, all right, what do we need to make this defense good? That's what you need to do, whether it's sign 2 big names or sign 1 big name and then go heavily in the draft on the defense.
When's the new league year start next week?
Next Wednesday. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week with March Madness and the
holy shit, we're going to be busy.
Yeah, and if the Sixers keep going the way they are, it's going to annoy the shit out of me because I'm going to want to talk about that too.
Yeah, what the hell's their deal, man? I saw they lost another close one. I was watching the highlights that they thought the game ended, but it didn't end, so they had to lose twice the other night.
Yeah, the Bulls, I guess, started the clock early, so they said the Sixers didn't get the proper amount of allotted time to run the play, so they gave it to them again, and it didn't fucking matter. But I don't know about you. I'm getting really sick of losing these games. You're losing to a lottery team with the Bulls. I can handle a last-minute loss to the Warriors. I cannot be okay with a last-minute loss to the fucking Bulls.
Yeah, again, man, I didn't see a lot of the game, so I'll have to lean on you here, but you still had 3, I don't know, superstars, Butler, Harris, and Simmons playing. I know Simmons isn't a scorer, which means, and see, that's the thing. Simmons isn't a scorer. Butler has not been a scorer with the Sixers. Whether he is or not, I don't know.
Which blows my mind.
But Harris, it seems to me now with Embiid down, if Harris doesn't shoot the ball well, they have a tough time winning.
Absolutely. I mean, JJ gives you what he gives you. He gets hot like he did the other day. He fucking had like 6 or 7 from 3. But if they're not shooting well and Embiid's not in the game, they are in trouble.
Yeah, and I saw he's out again tonight. And, oh, by the way, Ben Simmons wakes up with the stomach flu, so he may not go tonight, dude. So how entertaining is it going to be to watch an ass kicking by the Rockets?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Butler's going to have to D up Harden a lot.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun to watch tonight.
Are you getting a little sick of Jimmy Butler, his antics?
I you see the tweet out there that says he yelled so Brett Brown could hear, we better draw up a better fucking play next time or something along those lines. And he's not putting up the numbers to where it's worth the bullshit, man. Like,
right.
We'll see come playoff time if he turns it on, turns into like Mr. October or something like that. But right now, I don't know if I'm paying him max money.
No, but I am giving Tobias Harris max money. That dude can play.
Tobias is smooth, man.
I love watching him play. And him with Embiid and Simmons, he's nice. I think my bold prediction is going to end up being true is that they're going to move on from Butler and sign another big name, whether it's Kemba Walker or somebody like that.
I would be curious, and if another star would finally see this as a destination and being the 4th guy, unlike LeBron going to L.A.
But it all depends on how they do this playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on him. Elton Brand pretty much came out and said, hey, anything short of like the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be unacceptable.
Does it feel like they rushed this a little bit, where they threw in all these guys this year, and then is it unfair of them to be like, Brett, if we don't get to the finals this year, it's a failure and you're gone?
That's the thing. If they fall short, I bet you Brett Brown gets one more year, because when you break down these moves, you had the 2 stars, you needed a third. We wanted it in free agency. It didn't happen. We didn't draft a guy who turned into it. So you're limited to the trade market. And Jimmy Butler's was as good as you're going to get on the trade market. So you had to make that move because you realized you were pretty stagnant. And then after Butler comes over, you're kind of watching everybody integrate there and realizing, okay, we need more shooters on the floor. Well, who's a good shooter? This guy Harris from the Clippers can come over and be that thing. Now, it cost you all your assets, but every piece is there to move forward. I just don't think Elton Brand's going to expect Brett Brown to do it in 2.5 months.
It's unfair of them to ask that of him. They have 5 guys from the original roster on this team. You got Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, JJ Redick, TJ McConnell, and Jonah Bolden.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's pretty crazy for sure. A lot of turnover.
But segueing over to our other winter sport team, dun, dun, dun. I think my bold prediction is not going to come true with this team.
Yeah, man. What did I see? It was 5-0 the other night.
Oh, dude. Foreshadowing of our last podcast, Brian Elliott came back to life.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. What I did see interesting of the Philadelphia Flyers is it was the 15th anniversary of the absolute melee in I guess it was the First Union Center at that time.
Oh, who knows? That building changes
Senators.
names.
Dude, I posted it on our Instagram earlier today. Did you see that fight?
I remember the fight, obviously not in detail where I can describe things. And like I mentioned, being traveling all day, I haven't been able to watch the video yet, which I obviously need to do because if it's 15 minutes long, that's ridiculous.
There's this one part where the ref is calling in the penalty minutes and then just goes, oh, geez, not again. And he turned around and there's more fighting.
Weren't the goalies going at it?
Yeah, dude, it was Esch.
Robert Esch, right?
Yes.
Oh,
they
amazing.
were fighting, and then at the end, Jim Jackson just goes, I don't know if we're going to have enough guys to finish this game. There was only 2 minutes left in the game.
Where'd they put all the people? They didn't fit in the box, did they?
Dude, they didn't. They tossed people. Like, Brashear literally got tossed right off the bat because he was the one that first fought, and he literally broke this guy's face. Guy was bleeding all over the place.
Jesus.
And then 3 Senators come and jump Brashear, and then he starts fighting all of them. All of a sudden, John LeClaire comes out and starts fighting, and then the goalies start fighting, and then literally all you see is Brashear standing by the door, refusing to go back into the locker room, ready to go out there and fight more people.
Dude, I don't know why, but when I think of Donald Brashear, I don't think of him in a Flyers uniform. So
Yeah.
when you were first telling me this, I was like, was he on the Senators? It's like, no, that was one of the 2 years or whatever he was playing for the Fly Guys.
It was so funny to watch. My dad called me, and he's like, you got to watch this thing. It was hilarious. And it's just like, they want to get rid of fighting in hockey, but that is one of the most entertaining things I've watched in a year.
Oh, man. But like you mentioned, dude, getting their asses kicked by the Capitals pretty much puts the fork in them. They're done.
I think so. I think we're going to have to do a funeral for them next week.
We'll have to
get
get some.
about it.
How many games do they have left?
They have 12 games left, but they're 7 points back, and the Penguins just jumped into the top 3 of the Metropolitan. They're you can stick a fork in them,
yeah,
man. They're done.
So that's hockey talk.
Yeah, that's hockey talk.
One other thing I'm jumping in that was firing me up that I'm reading a lot about
is Jake Arrieta is going to throw the piss out of the baseball this year.
Yeah? Why do you say that?
because he came into camp midway through camp last year, literally not even to this point yet, a la Dallas Keuchel this season, right? So from the onset, you're trying to catch up. And personally, I don't ever think he caught up. I don't think he ever figured out what the fuck he was trying to figure out. And that's the deal, dude. During the season, if you're out of whack, this is why people have terrible years, is because they play 162 fucking games in like 180 days, and there's literally no practice. So, like, the only time you're fixing shit is live in the game. And, oh, yeah, stuff tends to go right the first time you're trying new shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. So, he's had a total offseason to know where the fuck he's going to be, get his ass in shape. He struck out the side the other day on like 14 pitches, and he's sweeping almost butt-ass naked recruiting Bryce Harper. My man is ready to go.
Dude, that was one of the best videos I've ever seen. I'm looking at Bryce Harper's coming to Philly videos on Instagram, and all of a sudden I stumble upon Jake Arrieta. I'm like, this motherfucker's in a speedo. And it was just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, that's exactly what I'm saying, man. He's walking around right now with a Nick Foles dong.
Oh, I love it. I hope you're right, man, because I am so excited about Philadelphia Phillies. It makes me forget about the Flyers. It makes me forget about this headache of the Sixers, because I'm all Phillied up right now, baby.
Yeah, right? Like, we're just burying the Flyers. But how about the ticket prices to go see Harper play his first real game? Because now twice we've posted on our Instagram, he's fucking homered in simulated games. So he struck out, he walked, and he homered, and then he double homered and grounded out or something in both games. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we should totally not pay this guy. He's going to be unbelievable, dude. Over 40 jacks. This, yes.
$100 people are scalping tickets for a preseason game that he's probably going to get 2 at-bats at.
Spring training, he's going to DH probably, and he'll probably take all of his at-bats because 3 weeks from today is the opener. So they're going to need to get him rolling, which means he's probably going to play a lot of DH, and then maybe the last week to 10 days is when you'll probably start seeing him in right field.
Dude, remember when we were down there a couple years ago for Quill's bachelor party? They were dead in the water. We knew it was going to be a bad season, and that place was still packed.
It was Aaron Nola's big league
we watched him pitch.
Phillies debut that we saw.
A-Rod was still on the Yankees at that time.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking A-Rod.
A-Rod was there. We booed the shit out of him. We went out and drank. It was great.
Yeah, we totally got him because we did that, and now he's just banging J-Lo.
Yep.
So suck it, A-Rod. We're doing a podcast. You're banging J-Lo. We win.
We win. Winners.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm also reading articles on the Phillies that it may not be wise to sign one of these pitchers left on the market because they're about 18 to 20 million below the luxury cap in baseball to where you have to pay like interest on your money. And if they sign one of these guys, they're going to be right up against that, which will limit their roster flexibility come trade deadline time in July.
And you think that's where it's better off getting an arm? Like a Madison Bumgarner or something like that?
Right, because if you don't have the money or even the flexibility, that's not an option for you. And you kind of run with the guys you have, and that's where you go, okay, it isn't working. We gave them 3 more months. Now we make a move and still don't have to go over because going into next year and year after, yeah, a lot of these people, Harper at 26, Arrieta will go down to 20. Like, they're not super expensive, but they are starting to have more locked-in money to where if they make another splash, they're going to go over that threshold. And every year, constantly, you're over the threshold. The interest you pay compounds. And you only need to get back under once for it to reset. Like the Yankees, dude, went over 14 years in a row until like 3 years ago when Judge, Sanchez, and all these other guys were rookies and they weren't paying anybody. So now it's finally reset for them so they can go back over and literally pay $190 instead of paying $190. But with the tax, it's like $300 million because it's your 13th year in a row over.
That's wild. It's
insane,
crazy.
dude. It's the little shit that they're looking at where it's like, oh, I want this guy. It's like, yeah, but then you can't do anything in July. So relax, people. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm doing my best Aaron Rodgers. RELAX. Relax.
Relax. Don't do it when you want to go to it.
I think this is the Phillies team that we're going to see open up.
I'm excited. I can't wait to watch them. But for the meantime, we got some basketball coming our way. It's going to be the best time of the month coming. And before we get into tournament play, we got Duke UNC this weekend.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
What are they ranked right now?
Right now,
I got it.
Right now, it's 3 versus 4. Carolina versus Duke. Carolina's at the 3 spot, and Duke is the 4 seed.
You got to go Carolina, right? It's in Chapel Hill, and without Zion, is he playing?
They haven't decided yet if he's going to play or not. Jay Williams came out and said he does not think Zion should play the rest of the year.
I was going to say, I don't think he's going to play until the March tournament.
You think even then he's going to play?
I think he's going to really want to play.
You go to college for that one reason, to play in the tournament.
And that's but that's where you could get extra ballsy and say, okay, I'm going to sit out the opening weekend and then play in the Sweet 16 and get an extra week.
And then you go and you lose in the fucking second round.
Exactly. So, but that's, risk reward that they'll be weighing. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be a week-to-week thing with him, and it's not going to be, hey, he's done for the year.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him in the ACC tournament for sure.
Hey, Carolina-Duke. Do you know of a better rivalry in sports?
I think it's the best rivalry in sports. I know other people complain
do?
about it. I do. I think merely based off the fact that they are, 20 minutes away from each other, and these people literally hate each other. I mean, you heard it with John Adams when he was talking about when they were beating Duke. All the Carolina fans there just going bananas for Lehigh. You don't get better than that. I know what you're going to say. The rivalry that hasn't been a rivalry for 12 fucking years because the one team owns the other team.
Listen. Do not make me. All right, fuck you, Pags. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go into my rant. I'm going to do my best Rich Eisen for all you guys out there who listen to part of my take and say, this rivalry, like everything else in life, is cyclical. We still own the advantage in the total series by 15 to 20 games. So what does that tell you? There's been at least 6 or 7 times where Michigan has won 10 to 12 times in a row. Yes, I just happen to be alive in the fucking prime era of Ohio State Buckeye football kicking the shit out of Michigan. But overall, we've beaten them more than they beat us. Michigan will rise again, and it may be as soon as this year with the coaching change, Pag. So the tide may be turning here, and we'll see Big Blue start to take over here.
I hope you're right, man, because I'm sick of turning on that game at 12 o'clock on the last weekend of the season and watching Michigan get their shit stomped in, or they blow it at the end. I think that rivalry is top 3. I just think Carolina-Duke they play each other more times out of the year, and every time they play, it's just a spectacle, and you got to watch it.
Well, that is true. They could play up to 4 times. Typically, they play at least 3, and I'm with you. I think that's a top 3 rivalry as well, but, Michigan guy, I'm going Michigan-Ohio State. But
yeah, you're always going to have the Yankees-Red Sox fans. You're going to have Eagles-Cowboys. You're going to have all kinds of stuff like that, but I think there's something different with the college rivalries compared to the pro rivalries. I think it's a little more special when you get the students there. The atmosphere is completely different. It's just insane.
Yeah, man, college basketball is awesome as well, especially this time of year. We're 8 days away, 9 days from Selection Sunday. So are we starting to see some automatic bids out here, or what's going on with that? Like I mentioned, I'm way off my game.
We are, and I actually have the first 10 that are going to be wrapped up either this weekend or Monday.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be fun for us to pick the winners of each one.
Oh, yes. Jump me with it. Let's go. I'm going to nail these.
Figure we'll do 10 here, and then the midweek ones that level out next week. And then at the end, our Friday episode, we'll crank out the big conferences when they end next weekend. But
let's do it.
We'll start with the Atlantic Sun Conference.
Atlantic Sun Conference, of course.
So the big names out of this one are the Liberty Flames and the Lipscomb Bisons, who are both potential bubble teams this year. They're both 14-2 in their conference, 27-6 overall. Also in this conference, you've seen these teams before. You got the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. Remember them going off?
Dunk you or something like that, right? Lob you or something?
Eagles lob you. You got North Florida, who made it last year or 2 years ago. I think I'm going to go with the Lipscomb Bison.
You're going Lipscomb? All right, I'll go Liberty just because Liberty beat my ass in baseball.
There you go.
I pitched against them down there, and they ripped me around pretty good. I was working on a cutter. Damn thing wasn't cutting.
That's the evangelical school. They're all Christian all the time.
Yeah, well, they weren't very nice to me, so.
So then the next conference is the Big South. You got the Hampton Pirates, the Presbyterian Blue Hoses, but the top two teams who are both 12-4 in the conference are the Radford Highlanders, which are right outside of William & Mary in Western Virginia.
Nice.
And get ready for this name.
Here we go.
The Campbell Fighting Camels.
Oh, I'm taking them. Yup, just because I need that name in the tournament.
I'm with you. I'm taking them as well.
We are big. Okay, it's official then. We can declare the Too Close to Call cast big Fighting Camel fans.
Big Fighting Camel
Let's
fans.
go. Everybody
awesome
out there, reach out to us in the Ram King. We're getting everybody Fighting Camel t-shirts.
So then we got the Horizon League. I don't know many of these teams, but one that sticks out and is top in the conference, you got the Wright State Raiders. I think I've seen them in the tournament before. And the Northern Kentucky Norse.
Oh, nice. Is Oakland in that league?
Oakland is in that league.
Yeah, okay.
They're the 3 seed.
They're the 3 seed? I'll take them. I was going to say, are they still alive? If they are, I'll go Oakland, even though they typically don't win, but they're right outside of Ann Arbor. Go Blue.
You're going Oakland Golden Grizzlies. What
That's
a name.
Let's do it.
Dude, these lower schools have awesome names.
Yeah, right? And Lehigh's the Mountain Hawks. Pick it up.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Northern Kentucky Norse. Let me write that down quick. We're going to the MAAC.
Oh.
Do you know what that stands for?
Sure don't.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Oh, yes, of course.
This is your Ionas, Quinnipiac.
I played these people in baseball all the time. Manhattan
Monmouth,
College is probably in
Manhattan,
that. Yeah.
Marist, Niagara. Yeah, it's your New York area schools. So the top two are Iona Gales and Quinnipiac Bobcats.
I'm going to go Iona because I played with a kid in Hawaii who went to Iona.
Okay, I'll go Quinnipiac just because. We're going to go Missouri Valley next. This is some schools that you recognize.
Is
Northern
Loyola,
Iowa.
are they still around? Can we ride Cinderella and Sister Mary Lou or whatever her name is another year?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it. Are you with me on that or am I riding that alone?
I'm going to go them as well just because last year.
Get your Sister Mary Kathleen shirts out.
We got Loyola Chicago. Drake is another big team in that conference.
No, fuck
So
Drake just because Drake, yeah.
We're both going Loyola.
Nice.
Next up is the Northeast Conference. This is your New York / Connecticut / Western PA schools. Top two teams in it, Fairleigh Dickinson Knights and the St. Francis PA Red Flash.
Oh, my God. These have to be your 16 seeds, no?
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, well
they're
then
probably the play-in teams.
I'm going to take the Red Flash just because their nickname is non-plural.
Cool. I'll go the Fairleigh Dickinsons.
That's the
Nice.
worst pick I've ever heard, Pags. You don't know shit about Fairleigh Dickinson.
You're damn right I don't. All right, and now into the Ohio Valley. Top two teams are the Belmont Bruins and the Murray State Racers, who has the kid from Zion School.
Third overall pick, right? That's J.A.
Yeah.
or whatever his name is. Yeah,
Yep.
you got to roll with him.
I'm going with him as well.
Yeah.
Just
I want to see his
because of him.
ass. Well, they're going to make it anyway, even if they don't win it, right?
Right, they're 25 and
So
4.
is Belmont, though. Isn't Belmont in that conference?
Yeah, they're 25 and 4 as well.
Yeah, they're both going to be in. Belmont's like a 13. I usually end up picking over a 4 or something like that.
They beat Duke a couple of years ago.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, so 2 good ones, but nah, fuck it. I'm going Racers.
All right. Then we go into the SoCon, the Southern Conference.
How many more of these do we have, Pags? This is a lot. Jesus, I know you
3
said
more.
10, but I forget. Okay, SoCon.
You got the Wofford Terriers, who are 18 and 0, 26 and 4 overall, a tournament team already ranked 22nd, and then the UNC Greensboro Spartans.
Oh, we beat them in baseball. Suck it.
I'm gonna go Wofford because they recruited me and offered me a scholarship.
Is this is Furman in this one?
They are the 4 seed, the Eastern Tennessee State Buccaneers, Chattanooga Mocs.
I'm taking Furman because my cousin is a sophomore at Furman currently on the baseball team. So shout out Jared Mahalik, Furman Paladins.
All right. You also got the Chattanooga Mocs in that. Do you know a famous Chattanooga Mock?
I do not.
Terrell Owens.
Oh, there you go. That's right. That's where he had his frickin' ceremony.
Yep.
What
All right.
what
Final
asshole.
2. The Summit League. Got the Dallas Goddard, South Dakota State Jackrabbits, the Omaha Mavericks.
The Omaha
That's about
Mavericks? What a name. That's a Top Gun reference. I may have to take them.
North Dakota State's in there, South Dakota. Have you ever heard of this team before? Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons.
The Mastodons. Let's
That
go.
is an awesome name.
Oh, man. I'll probably go Jackrabbits just because that'll be another good one for March Madness.
Yeah, I'm going to go Omaha Mavericks just because I like the name. And then the final one, this one may already be determined, but we'll pick it either way. I have a feeling I know who we're going to go with. We have the West Coast Conference, and you got the number 1 team in the country, Gonzaga Bulldogs, 29-2, 16-0 in the conference. You also got St. Mary Gales. You got BYU, San Francisco Dons.
Pepperdine, baby. Malibu.
Pepperdine Waves. The San Diego Toros.
Oh, good one. Good one. Yeah, Gonzaga usually beats St. Mary's in the finals here in this one every year.
Yeah, it's usually them or BYU sneaks in. But, yeah, I'm going Gonzaga as well.
All right, cool. So please tell me you wrote those down because I sure as hell didn't.
Let me rifle through them quick. Atlantic Sun. Miho has Liberty. Tags as Lipsicum.
Don't do this.
Fighting Camels, baby. That's all you got to know.
That's all you got to know.
That's all you got to know is we are a Fighting Camels
man.
podcast.
But hey, since I hijacked the show at the beginning, let's close on them with our favorite number 21s.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty easy for us. I'll let you go with the obvious. I'm going to go with Timmy D, Mr. Fundamental, the bank shot, Tim Duncan. Probably the most underrated NBA player of all time. The guy just wins. The guy dominated for so long, and I feel like he doesn't get the props he deserves when it comes to people talking about the top players in the NBA of all time. If you were picking a power forward of all time, you might have to go Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan, him and David Robinson. Dude, watching him, like we mentioned before, him playing against Vince Carter in college, he was the consummate professional.
Dude, and you never heard a peep out of him. That's what I loved about him. I will say that Popovich and Duncan are the closest similarity to Brady and Belichick you'll find.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It's been impressive, and Pop's still doing it, and Belichick will probably still be doing it after Brady.
Yeah, you're right.
So 221s popped in my head. The first one was Eric Allen from the Eagles, the defensive back.
Did not see that one coming.
Who's a stud. I did some research, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, dude. He jumped in front, had a pick six, I remember, very early on in my life in a big spot. But obviously being in my heyday currently, the number 21 around the tri-state area is currently Joel Embiid, baby.
That's who I left for you. If you weren't going to go with him, I was going to be pissed.
Got to take Big JoJo. We need him back and healthy as soon as possible.
Has there been a more polarizing player in Philadelphia since maybe AI?
Yeah, absolutely. With the most personality, literally playing against average Joes in the park and shit like that, man. He's fun to follow.
Dude, he's just playing tennis in the streets of Philadelphia. That's just great.
Hey, like we mentioned out there, thanks for bearing with us this past week and even during this episode with my voice and everything going on. We appreciate you guys listening as always. We're shooting out new content now that I'm back in town. We're going to get those vlogs up and going again on YouTube, but follow our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the above. Check us out, 2Close2Call.
We appreciate you guys bearing with us. My microphone sucked last time, so we appreciate it. Hopefully this one sounds a little bit better. Keep getting on our Instagrams. Keep getting us on Facebook. We're going to keep putting out content that hopefully you guys enjoy. We appreciate it. Later, guys.
Peace.